You've been chasing the goal, the dream, the finish line. But let me ask you this, what if the real reward isn't where you're going, but who you're becoming on the way? What if the hardship, the silence, the detours, they're not? Setbacks, they're shaping you. You see, success isn't a place, it's a becoming. And if you keep sprinting past the mirror, trying to arrive somewhere, you'll miss the most sacred part of the journey, your own transformation. So, today, I invite you to stop running and start awakening. Welcome to Unlocking Wisdom, where ancient truth meets modern transformation. This is a space for those ready to dig deep, rise higher, and live not just successfully, but purposefully. Subscribe now and let's evolve together. The real journey begins within. They tell you the path is forward. Keep going, keep grinding, keep chasing. But let me tell you what most men learn too late. The path forward means nothing if you never stop to look inward. I have led armies. I have faced betrayal. I have held silence while chaos raged inside me. And I will tell you this without hesitation. The real war is not out there, it's within you. You've been taught that success is a place, a position, a paycheck, that you'll be enough when you arrive. But I am here to rip that lie from your bones. You were never meant to become someone else's idea of arrived. You were meant to become you fully, truthfully, fiercely. So I ask you, who are you becoming while you chase the goal? Because you could win the prize and lose your soul. You could earn the title and forget your name. You could reach the summit and still feel empty inside. Why? Because the destination means nothing if you abandon yourself to get there. Success without self is failure in disguise. So many of us have climbed the wrong mountains. We ignored the whisper inside just to follow the noise outside. We chased approval. We performed for applause. We wore masks so long we forgot what our own face looked like. But your soul remembers, and it's calling you back. Back to your truth. Back to your fire. Back to the person you were before the world told you who to be. And no, I'm not saying the journey out there is useless. I'm saying it's meaningless if it's not aligned with what's in here. Taps chest when I led a revolution. I faced storms I never imagined. But the greatest storm wasn't on the battlefield, it was in me. My doubts, my fears, my questioning of whether I was enough to carry a vision so great. I learned then, no matter how grand your dream, if you don't master what's inside, the world outside will devour you. So what does that mean for you? It means this. You must stop chasing what looks good and start becoming what feels true. Because the only thing worse than not reaching the goal is reaching it and realizing you betrayed yourself to get there. Look within. Not for answers that impress, but for honesty that transforms. Ask the hard questions. Who am I becoming while I grind? Do I feel proud of how I show up when no one's looking? Am I aligned with something greater? Or am I just checking boxes? Trying to stay afloat, and when you sit in silence long enough, the answers will come. At first, they might break you, but eventually they'll build you. Because transformation doesn't come from success. It comes from self-awareness, from facing your shadows, from unlearning the lies, from holding space for your pain, from deciding, again and again, to grow. Rather than numb. This world needs more than your achievements. It needs your authenticity. It needs your presence. It needs your heart, not the version polished for applause, but the one scarred by truth and still beating with purpose. The journey is not about being better than others. It's about becoming deeper within yourself. So what if you paused right now, not to give up, but to look in? If success isn't what you thought, but who you become while reaching for it? What if your breakdowns, your heartbreaks, your doubts, they weren't signs to stop, but signs to go inward? Because peace isn't found at the finish line. It's found in alignment. Peace is when your feet are on a path that mirrors your values. Peace is when your external actions reflect your internal truth. The real success isn't in arriving. It's in walking with integrity. It's in saying, I may not be there yet, but I refuse to lose myself on the way. So if you're tired of feeling Empty while chasing more. If you're exhausted from proving instead of becoming, this is your moment. Begin again, not by going faster, but by going deeper, not by pleasing the world, but by becoming whole, not by changing for others, but by returning to yourself. Let this be the part of your journey where you stop sprinting and start becoming. Redefining success from outside into inside out. What if I told you that the life you've been taught to chase, status, certainty, comfort, is the very thing keeping you from the transformation? Your soul came here to live. What if I told you that real success was never meant to be measured in milestones, but in moments of becoming? They told you to climb, to compete, to conquer, and you believed them because we all did. We were handed a map full of borrowed definitions, and we called it direction. But somewhere along the climb, something started to feel off, didn't it? You achieved a goal and it didn't satisfy. You earned applause and it still felt hollow. You won, but somehow you still felt like you lost yourself. Why? Because the map they gave you was never drawn for your soul. It was drawn for your ego. And the more you followed it, the more disconnected you became from your essence, your truth, your intuition, your fire. I know what that feels like. When I was chosen to lead a revolution, I wasn't the most qualified, the most favored, or the most certain. I had doubts clawing at my chest. I feared failure not just for me, but for an entire nation. And yet, I chose to say yes, not because I was ready, but because I had finally found a cause worth becoming someone new for. That's what real success is, a sacred becoming. It is not the gold you gain, but the grit, the grace, and the groundedness you forge inside. It's not what you have, it's who you are when everything is taken away. That's the only success that matters. The kind that can't be bought or broken. So let's redefine success together. Success is not when the world sees your worth, it's when you do. Success is not when you avoid pain, it's when you grow through it. Success is not when life gets easier, it's when you get braver. And in that process, the version of you that you thought you needed to be begins to fall away. The performer, the pleaser, the perfectionist, the mask wearer, the one who's always fine. That version is not your enemy, it was just your armor. But now it's time to remove it, because it's suffocating the fire in your chest. The world doesn't need your performance. It needs your presence. It needs you to stop chasing and start embodying. It needs you to stop achieving and start aligning. You've been taught that stillness is weakness. But I'll tell you something I learned through war and loss and the weight of a nation. Stillness is power, because only in stillness can you hear the voice that matters most, the one within. Your inner world shapes your outer one. If your soul is dry, no victory will quench your thirst. If your spirit is misaligned, no success will bring peace. If you don't know who you are, no applause will make it feel real. You must rise from the inside out. And yes, it will be painful. Growth is not clean. It's not always poetic. It's messy. It's lonely. It's confusing. But it's holy. And the pain is not punishment, it's preparation. You are shedding. You are releasing. You are remembering. This part of your path is not a detour, it's the design. So let me ask you, are you willing to surrender the version of success that was built on ego and image to receive the kind that is built on alignment and authenticity? Are you willing to feel lost for a while so that you can finally feel whole? Are you willing to walk away from the world's definition of success so that you can walk into the one your soul longs for? Because the price of becoming is high. You'll lose people. You'll lose comfort. You'll lose the illusion of certainty. But what you gain will be worth everything. You'll gain clarity. You'll gain peace. You'll gain the kind of confidence that doesn't need validation because it's rooted in truth. You'll gain yourself, and when you stand in the fullness of who you are without apology, without pretense, you will realize that the journey was never about a destination. It was about this moment, this awakening, this decision to live from your center, not from your fear. So I say to you now, burn the old map, write a new one. One that doesn't lead to titles but to truth. One that doesn't worship success but honors your soul. One that doesn't demand perfection but welcomes presence. Because when you build a life from the inside out, every step forward becomes sacred. And who you become becomes the greatest reward of all. The inner compass, trusting the voice within, they told you to follow the rules, to listen to authority, to obey the patterns that brought others success. And so you did. You copied the models, you checked every box, you walked the proven path. But somewhere along the way, you lost the sound of your own soul. I'm here to tell you something dangerous, yet liberating. You were never meant to live someone else's life. You were meant to follow a voice far more sacred than the world's instructions, your inner compass. And I say this not as a philosopher or a mystic, but as a man who once stood in front of an entire army with no certainty except for one. The voice inside me was louder than the noise around me. Let me ask you this. When was the last time you trusted yourself? Not the version conditioned by society, but the deep, ancient part of you that knows what is true even when the world calls. If foolish, because success, real success, is not in becoming what is popular, it's in becoming what is pure. There's a still, small voice inside you. It speaks when the world grows quiet. It whispers not what is safe, but what is true. And that voice is the doorway to every breakthrough you seek. But the question is, do you listen? Do you slow down long enough to feel it? Or have you drowned? If beneath noise, approval, and busyness, let me remind you, you don't need more answers. You need more connection. The path to becoming the person you're meant to be doesn't begin with information. It begins with intuition. It doesn't begin with outside advice. It begins with inner alignment, and that alignment starts when you stop looking for permission to live your truth. You were not born to conform, you were born to create. You were not born to echo, you were born to embody. You see, the greatest leaders of history weren't the ones who followed the path. They were the ones who forged it, and they did so not because they had all the answers, but because they refused to betray the knowing that lived inside them. So I ask you, again, are you listening? Or are you still letting fear be louder than your calling? Because I promise you this, your soul already knows the way. It's your mind that's afraid. The mind craves certainty, the soul craves growth. And in the war between comfort and purpose, you must choose. And yes, it will be terrifying. But so is staying the same while your heart begs for more. You don't need to see the whole map. You just need to take the next step that feels aligned. You don't need the crowd's approval. You need your own self-respect. And every time you honor that inner voice, you rise. You rise into your own authority. You rise into integrity. You rise into the version of you that no longer chases, but creates. And in that rising, you'll begin to feel something you've longed for your entire life. Peace. Not the kind that comes from things going your way, but the kind that comes from you going the right way your way. Because when your actions align with your values, your decisions align with your truth, and your life aligns with your purpose, no chaos can shake you. You become rooted, unshakable, a force of nature, and the world will feel it. Because people don't follow the loudest voice. They follow the most grounded one. So if you want to lead yourself first. If you want to rise from the inside. And if you want to become someone worth remembering, become someone who never betrayed their truth, even when it was hard. Especially when it was hard. Because the world will tempt you to fit in, to water yourself down, to shrink to survive. But your soul will keep whispering, no, rise. Be who I made you to be. Not when it's convenient, but now, right now. Because every time you abandon yourself for comfort, you delay your becoming. And every time you choose truth over ease, you evolve. So I invite you, start honoring that inner compass. Start trusting that sacred whisper. Start living not from fear, but from fire. Facing fear, the fire that forges you. You want to become more, but you're afraid. Afraid of failing, afraid of being judged, afraid of not being enough. Let me tell you something most never admit. Fear doesn't mean you're weak, it means you're on the edge of transformation. When I stood before the British Empire, when I looked into the faces of men who doubted me, when I felt the weight of a nation that didn't yet exist, I wasn't fearless. I was on fire with fear, but I didn't run from it. I didn't numb it. I didn't shrink beneath it. I stood in it. I let it refine me, because fear is not the enemy. Fear is the furnace, it's not there to stop you, it's there to burn away everything that's not real. Your ego, your excuses, your limitations, your borrowed identity. And what's left after the burning? Strength, clarity, truth. You must stop praying for an easy path. Stop asking for less fear. Start asking for more courage. You don't grow by avoiding fear. You grow by walking through it. And I know it's not easy, because fear is a liar that speaks in your own voice. It doesn't shout, it whispers. What if you fail? What will they think? What if you're not ready? But I promise you this. You were not created for safety, you were created for destiny. And destiny always demands that you rise higher than your fear. Think of every person you admired. They didn't avoid fear. They befriended it. They used it. They stepped forward anyway. Because greatness doesn't feel like confidence. It feels like trembling hands and a steady soul saying, I'm doing it anyway. So don't wait to be fearless. Wait to be faithful to the calling inside you, even if your voice shakes. Because what if I told you this? Your fear isn't proof you're failing, it's proof you're evolving. Fear shows up when you're touching the edge of expansion. Let it come, let it rise, and then let it fuel you. When you walk through fear, you gain something more powerful than applause. You gain self-respect. You look in the mirror and say, I didn't run. I didn't shrink. I didn't betray myself this time. And that's freedom. Because confidence doesn't come from the outcome, it comes from the decision to show up. And when you make a habit of choosing bravery, something begins to shift inside you. You stop needing everything to be perfect. You stop waiting for the timing to be right. You stop holding your breath, hoping the fear will go away. Instead, you move forward with the fear. You let it walk beside you. And eventually it can't. Keep up with the person you're becoming. Listen to me clearly now. If you avoid fear, you'll avoid growth. If you avoid growth, you'll avoid your becoming. And if you avoid becoming, you'll live a life that looks safe, but feels dead. Don't do that. Don't build a comfortable prison. Don't sell your soul for certainty. Don't spend your whole life protecting a version of you that you've outgrown. Because the future version of you, the one full of peace, purpose, and power, is waiting on the other side of the fire you're avoiding right now. Walk through it. Tremble, cry, shake, but walk through it. Your soul doesn't need guarantees. It needs movement. It needs truth. It needs you to believe that your purpose is more important than your fear. And if no one ever told you this, let me be the one. You are strong enough to face what scares you. You are brave enough to begin again. You are wise enough to listen to what fear is trying to teach you. And you are worthy enough to live a life that expands you. But you must decide. You must wake up each morning and say, I refuse to be ruled by fear today. I will not bow to doubt. I will not let small thinking lead my destiny. Because fear is loud, but your why is louder. Because fear will always be there, but your truth is stronger. The people who change history, who break cycles, who create lives that matter, they aren't special. They're simply people who said, I'm scared, and I'm moving forward anyway. Discipline and intention, building the foundation of inner power. You've faced fear. You've stared into the unknown. You've begun to listen to the voice within. Now comes the part most people skip. Not because it's hard, but because it's holy. Because it requires something far more rare than inspiration. It requires discipline. See, everyone wants freedom. But freedom without discipline is chaos, and everyone wants peace. But peace without intention is just a fantasy. I've seen kingdoms fall not because they lacked might, but because they lacked order. I've seen men collapse not because they were weak, but because they never trained their spirit for what they were called to carry. Let me say this as clearly as I can. The strength you need is not found in motivation, it's found in routine. If you want to become someone who can hold greatness, you must build daily habits that reflect the life you say you want. Because your habits are not small. They are not side notes. They are declarations. They are prophecies in motion. Every choice you make is a vote for the kind of person you are becoming. You say you want clarity, do you make time for stillness? You say you want strength, do you discipline your thoughts? You say you want purpose, do you live your days with intention? Your life is not shaped by what you dream at midnight, it's shaped by what you do at sunrise. And that's where many give up, because discipline is not glamorous. It doesn't go viral. It doesn't feed your ego, but it builds your soul. And let me be honest with you, your habits will reveal what you truly worship, because what you repeat becomes your reality. And if you repeat distraction, avoidance, comparison, you'll build a life that looks busy, but feels hollow. But if you repeat alignment, stillness, integrity, you'll build a life that may look slow, but feels true. Here's the truth most won't tell you. Success is not one big moment. It's 1,000 small decisions when no one is watching. It's waking up early when comfort says sleep. It's speaking truth when fear says stay silent. It's keeping promises to yourself when no one else will ever know. Because if you can't lead yourself, you'll never lead your life. I built a nation not by wishing for it, but by waking every day with a fire that said, I will become the kind of man who can carry this mission. And now it's your turn. You want change. Start with your morning. You want clarity. Start with your silence. You want alignment. Start with your choices. Your habits are sacred. They are the bricks of your becoming. And every small choice matters, because the soul does not rise through force, it rises through consistency. And I know you're tired. I know you've fallen before. But let me speak this over you like a prayer. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to do it all. You just need to show up today. And build the mindset. Build the standard. Build the environment. Build the structure that your purpose deserves. You were not created to drift, you were created to design. And that design, it starts the moment you stop waiting to feel ready and start living like it matters. You don't need more motivation, you need a reason that wakes your soul up in the morning. You need a schedule that honors your future self. You need to stop asking how others do it and start asking, what does my truth demand from me today? Because when your habits serve your purpose, your life becomes a mirror of your calling. It's not easy, it's not loud, but it's real. And it's powerful beyond words. So make the call. Write the page. Turn off the noise. Breathe in truth. Say no to the lesser version of you. And say yes to the becoming. Because discipline isn't punishment. It's devotion. It's how you say, I believe in the person I am becoming, so I will train for them. The power of self-honor, walking in truth, loving in full. You've come far. You've stared fear in the eyes. You've begun to build your inner structure. But let me ask you now, do you honor yourself? Not admire, not tolerate, not perform for the world while bleeding inside. I mean honor in the quiet places, when no one's watching, when the mirrors are down and the applause is silent. Because here's the secret most people never learn. Your becoming will always be limited by the love you refuse to give yourself. You can master the habits. You can chase the purpose. But if you don't truly see yourself, the real you, you will spend your whole life building towers that crumble the moment they're tested. Let me speak plainly. You are not here to become someone else's idea of success. You are not here to wear a mask for praise. You are not here to be perfect. You are here to be true. You are here to belong to yourself. And that begins with love, not the soft, sugary kind the world sells, but the fierce kind of love that says, I see my flaws, and I don't flinch. I know my past, and I still rise. I've fallen, and I choose to get back up, not with shame, but with compassion. Because no matter how far you travel, how much you achieve, or who applauds you, you cannot outrun your relationship with yourself. And if that relationship is full of judgment, avoidance, or emptiness, everything you build will carry the same energy. So I challenge you now. Come home. Come home to the child in you that was once brave, wide-eyed, and enough just as they were. Come home to the truth that you are not broken, you are becoming. Come home to the knowing that your worth is not earned, it's remembered. And yes, that journey is hard, because the world taught you to hide, to perform, to win love instead of receive it. But you're not that scared version anymore. You're not here to keep abandoning yourself just to be accepted by people who can't even accept themselves. You are here to live aligned, to walk a path that reflects your soul, not your wounds, to speak in a voice that is yours, not your fears. You are here to look in the mirror not with criticism, but with kindness, to whisper, I'm proud of how far we've come, to say, I love you, and mean it. Because the journey isn't about becoming someone better. It's about becoming someone real. And when you finally stop needing to be understood by everyone else, you begin to understand yourself. That's when peace rushes in. That's when you stop fighting for belonging and start belonging to yourself. Let me tell you something that took me decades to understand. The world doesn't need a perfect you. It needs a whole you. And wholeness isn't found in pretending. It's found in presence, in feeling your feelings, in grieving what's gone, in forgiving yourself without waiting for permission. It's found in saying, I may not have it all figured out, but I refuse to abandon myself in this process. Because there is power, deep, unshakable power in walking through this world. As someone who is deeply rooted in truth, the truth of your scars, the truth of your worth, the truth of your voice, the truth of your path, even if no one else understands it. So, keep walking, even if they laugh, even if they leave, even if you walk alone for a while. You are not behind. You are not too late. You are not broken. You are becoming. And that becoming is sacred. So build a life where you don't have to pretend. Build a space where your nervous system can breathe. Build habits that protect your peace, not just your productivity. And most of all, build a relationship with yourself that is so loving, so fierce, so rooted, that nothing the world throws at you can shake it. You are not here to impress. You are here to embody, to live, to breathe, to love in full. Becoming the legacy of who you choose to be. So, here you are, not at the end of the road, but standing at the threshold of the most sacred choice you'll ever make. Who will I choose to become? Not what the world told you to be, not what fear convinced you to settle for, but you without masks, without apology, without delay. You've walked through fire. You've peeled away the false layers. You've built discipline from devotion, not punishment. You've faced your reflection and chosen to see worthiness staring back. Now is the time to live it. Because everything you've been through wasn't to make you tougher. It was to make you truer. Everything that broke you wasn't trying to destroy you. It was calling forth the unshakable in you. And now, as your story enters this next chapter, you must decide, will you keep chasing destinations? Or will you become the embodiment of everything your soul came here to express? You see, you don't become powerful by reaching a peak. You become powerful by refusing to abandon yourself on the climb. You don't become wise by knowing all the answers. You become wise by finally trusting your own. And you don't leave a legacy by building an empire. You leave a legacy by becoming someone who chooses truth, especially when it's hard. Because your greatest legacy will never be your titles. It will be your transformation. The kind that echoes when you walk into a room. The kind that calms chaos without a word. The kind that gives others permission to rise because you did. You are not small. You are not too late. You are not lost. You are here, alive, worthy, and still becoming. And that becoming is not for show. It's for you. For the future you that looks back and says, I didn't waste the pain. I didn't shrink from the call. I answered it fully, fiercely, faithfully. So let me remind you, you don't need to prove anything. You just need to remember who you are. You are the answer to your ancestors' prayers. You are the breath of resilience passed through generations. You are the bridge between who you were and who you're becoming. And every time you choose to rise with grace, to walk with truth, to live with intention, you become someone history can't ignore. But most of all, you become someone your soul respects. That is the ultimate victory, not external applause, but internal peace. You didn't come here to race. You came here to realize. You came here to embody love, courage, clarity, and truth so deeply that even in silence, you speak. And now you are ready to walk forward. Not as someone searching, but as someone found, not for perfection, but for presence, not to arrive, but to become again and again. Because in the end, the destination will fade, but you, your choices, your love, your light, that's what will remain. So ask yourself every morning from this day forward, what kind of soul am I building today? What kind of energy am I carrying into this world? What kind of legacy am I living not later, but right now? Because the journey is not happening to you. It's happening through you. And you are not just a traveler. You are the trailblazer. The one who changed the story. The one who refused to stay small. The one who finally realized the destination never mattered more than the person you dared to become along the way. If this message stirred something in you, if it lit even the smallest fire in your soul, don't let it fade. Leave a comment below and tell me, what are you choosing to become today? And if you found power in these words, like this video, and subscribe to Unlocking Wisdom, where we don't just talk about growth, we ignite it. Your journey has just begun. Let's keep walking together.